Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Maria. Today we are making a DIY beach slash 4th of July double-sided door sign. Um, I got this package from Hobby Lobby a couple weeks ago. I am using two pieces. This is a 14-inch piece wood round. This was a pack of 6 that I had bought, and I'm going to use the first piece, and I'm going to stain the first piece with my vintage blue wood stain that I picked up at Home Depot a couple weeks ago. And then the second piece I am going to stain with Early American. Um, Also, you can pick it up at Home Depot. So I did that the night before because I would rather let it dry overnight than use the heat gun to dry it up. Um, So these beads are left over from a previous craft, and I figured I wasn't going to use them at the moment, but I can use them for something else later, which is something that I kind of always do. Um, so this is what I'm going to use to hang the sign from. And I was trying to put the knot on the one side, and I pulled it a little bit too hard, and the beads came out, so I had to put the beads back on the string all over again. But after I'm done putting them on, I do add an extra one at the end later. Um, but that's not until after I had already stopped recording. But I got this at the dollar store. This came with something else at the end of it, which I'm gonna post a video to that on Friday, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're gonna start with the 4th of July side. So on this side, I use my Cricut to cut the vinyl into the shape of the skylines of the city of Philadelphia. So because the Cricut only cuts 12 inches, the wood round is 14 inches. I had to use like a piece of vinyl at the end because I didn't want the paint to go past that. And I'm going to use white paint to paint Happy 4th. And then I'm going to use Hey Sailor by DIY Paints to do the night, like make it look like nighttime on the sky. Because I wanted to, well, I'm going to add fireworks onto that as well. So I did cut the vinyl with the fireworks, but I took this piece off first because I wanted to make sure that when I did the nighttime, I didn't do the nighttime with the fireworks on there. I wanted to put the fireworks on top, if that makes sense. But you'll see that later in the video. Um, but after I was done painting this, I let it dry for like let the bottom half dry right where the buildings are, and then I pulled that off. And then I don't let the like the top of course gets painted, but it takes a little longer to dry, of course. But then while that's drying, I do move on to the second wood round. Okay, so like I said, I let the bottom half dry up a little bit, and while the top half is still drying up, I do take the vinyl off, and then I just take like I weed everything off that's on there, like any extra, because I want that other half to dry, like to completely finish drying. So while that half is drying, I move on to the beach one, and I use, I think it's Blue Iris. Um, Everything will be in the description box below. So you know what colors I use and stuff like that. So I only added welcome on here because everything else is going to be glued on. This is going to be like a more like a 3D type side to it. um, but I used Blue Iris to paint welcome on here because it was like a pretty blue, and it kind of reminded me of like the water, and because the light blue is already on there, I think this color of blue just brought it out a little bit more. And I thought it came out really cute. Anyway, so, and I didn't want to use the darker one because it would have been too dark. Um, but I did the same thing here. Like I let it dry just a little bit, and then I pulled it off, weeded out whatever I needed to weed out on there, and then I move on to the next after it's completely dry, because I do let that dry just a little bit. So I end up getting the beads, and I start gluing the beads on the opposite side, and then I put these Jenga blocks on the back because they have to be spaced out, and I didn't want the beads to be the only thing that's like in between, so I wanted it to have like the same, how you call it, the same space in between both. So I put this on the beach side. So once I was done doing this, then I put the 4th of July on top of it. Now, I can't remember how many I used for this, but I did like a outer circle, and then I did like an inner circle, and then I glued it all in place. Like once I knew that this was completely done, hot glue gun does dry pretty quick. But once I knew I had enough in there and it glued in place, then I ended up putting the other one on top. And I just put some glue on them as fast as I could, and then I made sure that it was like completely straight because I didn't want it to be off on the opposite side. So yeah, I ended up flipping it over, and I'm gonna do the beach side. So I got this net also from Hobby Lobby, um, and it's pretty big, but I didn't want to use all of it, so I grabbed a piece. Don't ask me how much, like how big it is, because I don't know how big it is. I just know I did it as big enough to wrap at least the bottom side half, because it's like in an angle, and I glued it like on the inside of the reef and then on the bottom. So this is pretty stretchy, so I was able to like pull it in place and then like put some glue on the inner side of the reef, and then well, of the wood round, and then push it in with the scissors because that's what I kind of like wanted it to be tucked in. But I put glue on the inner side, of course, because I wanted it to stay in place. So I got this anchor from the dollar store, but I got these shells from Hobby Lobby as well. And then the sand dollar and the starfish I also got from Dollar Store. Dollar Store had like these 3 packs. Um, but I'm only using one here. And then I also got a turtle. Now, I bought this turtle when this first started putting out like all the beach theme and the sea stuff. And I left it in the bag and didn't realize that when I picked it up, one of the legs was broken. So I was highly upset about that. And I didn't realize until after I had gotten it already here, and it was in my craft room for some time, and I'm like, oh, highly disappointed. Anyway, I spread everything on to the net. I glued the sand dollar in there, the starfish. Of course, everything goes glued, the seashells. And then when it came to the turtle, the sea turtle, I glued that in place. And then if you see like one of the hands are off, I just put a seashell over it just to cover it because I don't know. I didn't like the way it looked, and I was like, I'm not gonna go without using this. I'm definitely gonna use this on here anyway. But I used that piece of the shell to hide it. But that's how this one turned out. I think this one turned out really cute. Then I flipped that over, and then I went on to use the other half of the vinyl to make the fireworks onto the wood sign. So I used red, white, and blue paint, of course, and I just started like I didn't put them all in the same color. I just started putting paint anywhere. And I wanted it to be some red, white, and blue, and fireworks started in different colors. And I just did it however I thought it would look nice. So you can do whatever color you want if you decide you want to do this. I went with the red, white, and blue just to go with the red, white, and blue, I guess. But if you notice, the colors do end up mixing up because the red is not completely dry when I start adding the white, so some of the red goes onto the white, and then the same thing with the blue. Some of the white starts going onto the blue, and so on. But the way this turned out at the end, I think it turned out really, really cute. But I started doing this, and I liked how it turned out. But then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pull this off. And I had the 3 on there, and then I figured I think I need to add more. So after I add this paint here, and I'm like debating if I'm gonna add any other colors to it, I pull it off and I liked how it looks, but I felt like it was missing two more. So I put one on the bottom and I paint that white, but there's still color on that piece of the stencil, so some of the color does kind of go on to the wood anyway. And then I take that one off and then I move it to the opposite side, and then I do another one on the opposite side because I felt like it would look better with the 5 and the 3 wouldn't look so lonely up there. So I don't know. But I think this turned out really, really cute. It was pretty simple. It does require a lot of painting. Well, for this side at least. The other side, not too much. But if you're gonna do a wood stain, I always do it overnight. You can do it however you want. But this is what I use for this. I think this turned out really cute. I think both sides are really nice. Once the 4th of July is done, you can flip it over and have the beach theme on the door instead of having to make another wreath for that. So this is how everything turned out. If you stayed to the end of this video, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. To the next one. Bye.